Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV. Today I have on who's becoming a good friend of mine, Hillis Pugh. Hillis and I met, maybe a year ago, and we've done a couple of broadcasts together. I've been on his show, he's been on my show, and now we're on the Ascended Masters store together. And today he's talking about a class that he's doing on the Ascended Masters store. So I wanted to bring him in to talk about this class that he's doing. And this Ascended Masters store that we have that has been created for a lot of us to be able to co-create and intercreate and cooperate and share our messages in a way that creates a win-win-win. And I call it that because it's about a win for me, it's about a win for Hillis, it's about a win for the creators of the Ascended Masters store, and it's a win for all of humanity. These co-op spaces are going to be the way we will be doing business in the future, the way that businesses will be doing business in the future, because competition is part of that old world 3D matrix that we're moving away from. In this world we're creating, in this new earth 5D love-based reality, competition doesn't even exist. So these concepts, like what Hillis and I are part of, and a couple of other concepts I'm a part of, is how business will be done in the future. And this is one of those leading edge places. So we're both really blessed and excited to be a part of the Ascended Masters core group, and to be able to bring these kinds of messages, these classes, these courses to all of you, to help you wherever you are in your life as well. Speaking of classes and courses, before I bring Hillis in, I am open for registrations for my next Transcendence Process class that starts up the middle of March. There's a couple of spots left open. And it's a great class for those of you who are looking how to navigate 4D so you can get to that beautiful, heart-centered, unconditionally loving, pure love 5D reality. So if you have some issues in your life you still feel like you need to process, if you have some beliefs that you feel like are keeping you from being all that you have the ability to be, the Transcendence Process class might be what's best for you. And you can learn more about that on my website at victoriareynolds.com. Now I'm going to bring in Hillis to find out about this new class that he's doing. This is the first time I've heard about it, so it is just as much of a surprise for me as it is for all of you. So I'm going to bring him in so he can talk about what he's doing over there. Hey, Hillis.
Hey, Victoria. Good day to you. Good day to everyone.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you were on here. Now, we were talking about earlier, we just set this up. So this is a total impromptu conversation. So for those of you watching, I did not have time to make myself look fabulous today. So I'm spouting the busy mom look. I
I
have
love the
this
busy
hat in like
mom
10
look.
different colors.
Yeah, I love the busy mom look. Who has time for anything anymore these days? We are who we are when we present ourselves. And it's not so much about how we look. It's about so much what we present in our energy in that space. I could be all scruffy and hair grown out and just looking a hot mess, but it's the energy that I bring. And so it's also, some people say that our appearance is a reflection of our energy. Sometimes if we look a mess, we are a mess. But sometimes it could be just the opposite. We can look a mess, but be channeling the most high divine energy. Is what we feel at the moment. So appearances, appearances.
Yeah, and people have gotten better about that. It's, I've talked about this before, that one of the gifts of COVID was that the insistence that everyone be perfect has kind of gone by the wayside, especially because everybody's had to learn how to be comfortable on camera, and pretty much all of us broadcast from home. I mean, someone asked me a couple of days ago, "Oh, where's your studio? Where do you broadcast from?" And I said, "My bedroom." I have this little partition in between my desk and my bed is this partition that's like, I've separated off as a little home office / studio. So this is where I run my show from. I mean,
It's
someday I'll
beautiful.
have a studio with professional lighting and all that, because that's one of the things I want to do. But this is it. So we work with what we have, and I'm really grateful that people don't expect perfection, because that used to be the case when I started doing shows a few years ago. So I
Yeah.
started doing my first on-camera appearances were about 10 years ago. And the difference between being on camera 10 years ago to being on camera now is all the difference in the world.
Yeah, there's less expectations around it. So thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hillis, what are you up to? You're kind of breaking the groundbreaker for these new live classes that are happening on Ascended Masters.
Yes. I'm super excited to be one of the first beta testers of this new live streaming that's going to be on Ascended Masters. And upcoming this Thursday, February 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, is my first Lemurian trauma healing event. And this particular live event is meant for now. It is meant for us who have been wanting to transition into fourth density, into these higher energies, but still we have so many attachments, whether if it's, PTSD, mental, physical, sexual abuse, any shame, guilt, anything that's built in around that, and any traumas that are lingering from youth up until now. Whether if you were in a car accident or you had abandonment issues or whatever the gambit of the lower vibrating energy and frequencies are, that's what this event is for. This event is for any and everyone who wants to begin the process to clearing and letting go of these said traumas that are holding us down. And I'm super excited to be one of the first ones to do this live on the Ascended Masters.
Wow. So I know that that's one of the ways that people are really, it's one of the things people are really seeking. So, uh, and what's really great about this, so these kinds of live programs, so this used to be ridiculously expensive,
Yes.
ridiculously expensive. And I think a lot of the messengers now are realizing it's better to serve a lot more people at a smaller tuition than to serve just a few people at this higher tuition. So
Yes.
it's really great to see these classes now being really affordable for people, which just was not the case a few years ago. That the coaching industry got, in my personal opinion, got completely out of hand. It got greedy. And the price tags kept going up and up and up and up and up for any of these programs. And it got to the point where people just couldn't afford them anymore. And so, and I was just having this conversation a couple of days ago with a client of mine. And I was saying, I would rather have my price tag be less and serve a lot more people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's one thing that I like about the Ascended Master Store, that everything is set in a reasonable rate. And it's us who set the prices. And I've never considered myself to be a part of the coaching community.
Me
I've
neither.
al- I've always considered myself a soul mentor and an energy facilitator, one who brings in various energies through Lemurian light language, through Syrian energy, through Arcturian energy, some of the most high vibrating energies that we can utilize as a tool to be of service to other people, to nourish their souls, to repair their energy systems, to bring everything back online. And the best way to do that is to reset the nervous system, reset the lymphatic system, clear out the meridian system, clear out the chakra system, clear out the auric field, and so you can access the beauty that is you. Because with all that muck, with all that stuff that is running around in the system, we don't realize how much stuff is there. And actually, I'm going to share with you what I shared with you moments ago about the subconscious programming that's going on and that has been prevalent in our society. I and just to this will show how old I really am. So I had an epiphany this morning, and it was me really clearing out money blocks and money issues and things like that, and everything what is in question and relation and related to. And so, just a few weeks he was on my show, we were talking about your program, and one of the things that came up was, the thing about when I was in second grade having a hole in my shoe. And
Mm-hmm.
so in my dreams that I went back to that place to see what that was really connected to really clear all that stuff out. And next thing that came in my head was Michael Jackson. I'm like, of all people, why is Michael Jackson in my head? And I was like, okay, let's trace this out. Focus on seeing where this is connected to. And my childhood movie still is one of my favorite movies of all time. The Wiz came into my projection, came into my field of energy. I'm like, okay, this is odd, but let's see where this goes. And so I'm traveling the subconscious thought, the vein of energy. And it goes to the part where Dorothy, played by Diana Ross, is peeking in on Michael Jackson, who's the scarecrow, being hung up on this pole. And, he's bantering with the crows who won't let him down off of this pole. And in order for him to get down, he has to sing the crow anthem. And so he begins to sing, and one of the lines, can't remember if it's the absolute first line, but the line that is prevalent, I believe, is the chorus. It's like, "You can't win," and I'm like, "Whoa, you can't win." That's a very subconscious thought process, because in that moment, it says to me that you can't win unless you do a favor for somebody. You can't win unless you are experiencing hardship. You can't win unless you are experiencing some sort of struggle. You can't win unless you are, down and out and don't have anywhere else to go. It's like you can't win until something happens for you or to you. And then once he gets down off their pole, they begin to walk down the yellow brick road to where they experience more hardships. And I'm like, life wasn't set up to be easy now, was it? And it just, blew my mind of me laying in bed this morning having this epiphany of all of this subconscious programming. And so what I'm looking forward to for this week is to assist in the beginning of the process of the reprogramming of these subconscious thoughts that we thought were not connected to, whether if it's money or abuse or trauma or pain or grief, whatever it's connected to. There's all these infinite chords of connection to how we feel and how we act and how we behave towards one another. It's just mind-blowing to me right now.
Yeah, and it's so interwoven, and it's so, as we were saying, it's so interwoven into the subconscious.
Yeah.
That we don't even know that those are the narratives that are running the show.
Right.
And so what's great is when they come to the surface, you kind of go, oh, look at that. I didn't know that was still in there. Well, great. Now that I recognize it, I can process it. I can transmute it. I can work with it. I can dismantle it. I can let it go.
Yeah.
But until we recognize those beliefs are even there, they're still subconsciously running us. So
Yeah.
absolutely. I think when one of those comes up for me, I actually get excited. It used to be really embarrassing and really frustrating. I'm like, oh man, oh, there's another one of those beliefs. And now when they show up, it's like, oh, cool, nice. I'm so glad I recognize you. So now you're not in the way anymore.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine that being my favorite movie as a child, and how many times I've seen that movie saying, "And you can't win."
That
And
got
then,
programmed into you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and along these other little nuances that I'm going to be like you to be happy to discover. And I'm like, there's one. Okay, out you go. I don't need that anymore. I mean, it's just interesting in how the level of subconscious programming that we have lived in this lifetime to keep us in a space of, dare I say, obedience.
Less thanness,
Yes, exactly.
unworthiness,
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
subjugated.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the list can go on for miles, but that's what this live session that I'm going to do Thursday, February 17th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. That's what this is about. It's about us getting to the root of that. And I would say now that this is only the beginning of of the unfolding, the beginning of the releasing. There's much to do once the door's been cracked open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's how it works. Once the stuff starts coming to the surface, more and more and more of it starts bubbling up for us to remedy.
Yeah. Yeah, you and I, we've been doing this for years, and then we still find stuff.
Yeah. Still, it's like, okay. Or so for me, the way that it shows up for me is like a resistance to doing something. Then I have
Mm-hmm.
to sit with it and say, okay, why am I resisting doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What is the belief that's behind it?
Mm-hmm.
So is it that am I resisting doing this because it's not what's best for me, or am I resisting doing it because there's some belief that's keeping me from doing it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it requires us to be really, really conscious of our choices and our actions to see what's really behind why we do and don't do the things that we do.
Right. I mean, just imagine, me being 45 and living most of my life with the pre-programmed and other programs. So from like age 0 to probably like 25, 27 years old, almost 30. So almost 30 years of living in this space of pre-programmed or subconscious programming or life experiences that created trauma, that created all these layers of protection, that created all these layers of guilt or shame, so you don't have to feel the hurt, feel the abuse, feel embarrassed, feeling shameful, feeling that you have to hide yourself, from all of that. And then over that is a whole other identity that you created to keep yourself from feeling that. So then you not only have to clear out the identity that you created, and then too, you have to now then get in deep and release all the hurts, the pains, the everything from that to get to your true self. So I mean, I can tell you now that if you have 30 years of stuff, it can't be done in one day. I mean,
Right.
I'm just going to be honest. I mean, heck, you and I have been doing this for at least 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my first spiritual awakening was in 1987.
Mm,
That's when I discovered self-help books.
mm,
So I've been at this for a long time. No, not the entire time, because I did take a break from the time I got married and then I had kids and I was busy being
Mom.
engaged and getting married and being a newlywed and having kids. So there was about a 10-year period where I didn't do any work on myself.
Yeah.
And then it came back around in 2008. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I remember that. Basically had to start all over again. But, and then this has been a massive up leveling.
Yeah.
And the difference is that in my 20s, when I was doing the work, that's when I was the most traumatized. So I was just dealing with surface trauma.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing any of the deep work at all. I was just dealing with the surface stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what I've been doing the last 10 years is going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the pit of fear-based beliefs.
Yeah. I mean, it's really fascinating to me because, with all the different levels of trauma, with all the different levels of abuse, the ones that, seem to have the deepest wounds or the deepest scars are the ones done on the psyche,
Mhm.
which all end up being rooted in the psyche. But when you have the physical abuse or sexual abuse, those are deeply rooted. And I've worked with a lot of people with that, and really astounds me in how people are now willing to let it go after a decade or so, probably even 2 or 3 or 4 decades.
Mhm.
And I have worked with clients who have held this energy in their body for so long that they didn't know what to do. And this is one thing that I want to get across to everyone, that when we have trauma, regardless of how minute or how massive it is, it impacts the body.
Mm-hmm.
and it results in, illnesses. It results in diseases. It results in body aches and pains. It results in a myriad of things, because it starts off as energy. It comes through our auric field. Our auric field creates holes in our structure, in our protective structure.
Hmm.
It comes through that vessel, that vein, and then that energy begins to attach itself to our chakra system. It attaches itself to our meridian system, to our circulatory system, to our nervous system. It attaches itself to our cells, and sometimes even rewrites or reprograms the DNA, and even in our neurons in our brain. So it affects us on various levels. So
Right.
it just, is in that space of, are you now ready to let it go? Are you really now seeing the damage you've done to yourself? I mean, by
Yeah.
allowing this to be so prevalent in your system, in your field, that you don't know anything else.
Yeah. So it is, as I've explained before. So our natural state of being is a state of ease. So we come into this body. Most people come into this body in a state of ease. Every once in a while, there's a baby that's born, a soul that chooses an unwell body. But most people, when they're born, are born in this natural state of ease, and this beautiful love in a body, bliss in a body.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens as we enter into this fear-based reality is that we learn fear,
Yeah.
which creates a state of dis-ease.
Yeah.
That's why it's called disease. And as you were saying, it shows up in the mind, it shows up in the body, it shows up in the heart, and it shows up in our auric field: mind, body, heart, and spirit. It's impossible to separate any of those four aspects of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so what we're working on now is, as we move more and more into this ascension reality, into this love-based reality, is about focusing on the heart. This is the first time the heart's intelligence has ever been brought into the conversation.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
we're healing the whole being.
Yeah.
And
And,
every little fear-based belief,
hmm,
in your case, it was the I can't win. That's a perfect example of a fear-based belief. It gets embedded literally into our genetic makeup.
yeah.
It blocks the heart from working to its full potential.
Yeah.
It messes with the mind's electrical impulses and our neuron impulses. It messes with our auric field. It messes with the whole being.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And one thing that I want to also impart on people too is that being born is somewhat too a traumatic experience on the soul level. And just want to express this in a way that is beautiful, because just imagine you're this mighty creator energy, this massive creator energy that's bringing 70%, approximately 70 to 80%. Most of us brings about 70% of our soul energy with us. The 30% is left in the ethers, is left home, is what we will call home. So we bring this massive amount of energy, and we do our best to squeeze and compact all that energy into this. Can you imagine squeezing all that energy into every single cell, DNA strand, telomere, stem cell,
mhm.
muscular structure, skeletal structure? Can you imagine squeezing all of that into this? It's almost impossible, and can be sometimes overwhelming for the soul to do so. And so when you finally do it, it's yay, it's aha, I did it. But now it's like, okay, wait, where am I? you know, you're
Mhm.
in this whole other dimensional space. And so it's this process of adjusting to where you are, but also being in a place of warmth and being welcomed with the energy of love and support that was there. This is why as children we can still see the other side. We still have that connection to the other side, to bring that ease and comfort until we fully adjust into the space that we're in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that then there's that first initial trauma of being squeezed out, right? Or however it is that
Yeah.
we come out into the world. It's like,
Push.
Well, in my kid's case, it was being yanked out by them. In my daughter's case, yanked out of a hole in my belly by her tushy. You know, that's but the whole birth process is stressful.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really interesting that this is just what hit me. And I know I've talked about this before, but this is what humanity is going through right now as a
Oh,
collective. We're being birthed into a new reality. It is really stressful
yeah.
for the collective right now because we're being birthed into a new reality, and that as beautiful as the process is of creating new life, there's also all the stress and anxiety and that goes with being with that old comfort zone being um, pulled out from underneath us in a sense.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and this is why I do what I do. This is why you do what you do, so that we can bring higher energies into this space. Whether we are working with people one on one, but I'm happy that I'm doing this in a group setting online to transmit and transmute these energies of trauma to allow this energy to be reformed. It's interesting because once you understand your own personal traumas and everything else that you've experienced, you then be able to see the replications and the patterns in other people. Because though the experience may be different, the symptoms, the markers, and the patterns are still the same.
Right.
And it's just how to identify them on an energy level. No matter who they're in, it's easy to recognize. And so I'm glad that I've went through what I went through. So then now I can be of service to others to really transmute the pain, the trauma, the suffering that no longer has to be endured into beautiful, loving, supportive energies.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and on a soul level, that's why we put ourselves through the trauma and drama that we did so that we could do the work we're here to do.
yeah.
You wouldn't be able to do the work that your soul has you here doing if you hadn't gone through all that.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
That's one way of being able to get to the point where we're actually grateful for our pain stories because we realize the pain stories actually existed so that we could teach through them. We could
Yeah,
learn through them, and then we can turn around and be the teacher to help other people move through theirs.
yeah,
That's how we all work together,
yeah.
right? No
It,
one gets
it's
left behind because we're always reaching back and helping other people through, and then they reach back and help other people through. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. And that's what I love about the time that we're in. This whole process of reaching back and pulling other people with us. Like, hey, what's going on back there?
Yeah,
Hey, you should be up here with me. Come on.
yeah.
And so it's in that process of like, do you get it yet? Do you understand yet? What
Well,
about you?
and that's why we mutually support each other. So your approach might be different. So we do similar work. Your approach is very different from mine, and we support each other's work
Yeah. I
because
mean,
there are 8 billion people on the planet, and everybody's going to resonate differently with different people.
yeah.
You know, and I don't do light language. I don't do blue light that you do. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to take your class so I can find out what this blue light is.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I work specifically with the beliefs, and most of what I work with are people who picked up these fear-based beliefs from their religiosities to process their fear-based religious beliefs. That's primarily my purpose on the planet. And but I don't work with. I do work with a rainbow light frequency. It's not blue light, and the violet light.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, if anyone knows me, if they've seen my shows on Friday nights, they see how much I talk about crystals. Crystals are my family. I have almost every possible crystal you can think of, and then some. But it's working with these special beings. It's working with the energy that's around us. It's working with the energy that is in me. And what is beautiful about this experience is that I work with all kinds of energy. I work with the elementals, work with dragon energy, work with Arcturian energy from the planet Arcturus, work with Syrian energy from the planet Sirius, work with Egyptian energy, Sumerian energy, Lemurian energy. I work
Mhm.
with even the sound of a passing car, the energy that's emitted from a microwave, the energy that is emitted from Wi-Fi. I work with all these energies and able to transmute them into nourishing energies for the soul, because
Mm.
these energies that are moving around the planet are being unutilized. So it is how my teacher taught me, that I will soon be teaching others, is how to connect to these energies and to really unify them, to work with them, because it's, as some people say, waste. And so this excess of energy, I'm able to take, convert, and use it in special ways to be of service to other people. So even as you and I are talking now, I can sit here and transmute this energy and bring it back and then use it as nourishing light. And so, it's what I do. It's what I love.
Cool. I love that. And I have to share this with you, and I don't know if the audience will be able to see this or not. But as we've been talking about the energy shifting, your stream cleared up again.
Yeah.
So remember I was saying how your video was all fuzzy before? It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
cleared
Well, I
up.
think because I finally moved on, because the spot here, which is on one of my meridian lines,
Uh-huh.
energy has built up so much in that spot. And I was in the midst of, because my hand was starting to hurt. I'm like, why is my hand hurting? And so I was able to release that energy. And so, yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably,
that's really interesting because now your video is clear. That's really interesting.
yeah,
Mm.
amazing things happen on amazing days. And so it's beautiful. But I am super excited, Victoria, for this Thursday, and hope that you're able to hop on to join and to witness and to feel this energy, as I know you have before, but this is in a different setting. And so, it's my
Yeah.
joy.
Oh, I'll have to take a look at my schedule and see if there's anything. I know my day is very busy on Thursday, but if it's in a window that I can climb on, I certainly will. So this class is live streamed, right? That's what we're
Yeah,
doing.
it's live, and so there will be a Q&A at the end. I don't know how long this will be, but it is anticipated to be at least 1 hour when I do these. And so, just, it's not up to me; it's up to spirit
Right.
to really dictate the timing of this. But yeah, there will be opening to, I will introduce some of the tools that I will be utilizing, some of the crystals I will be utilizing in this process, most of which I'm sure people may or may not have heard of, and other tools that people can access, and then go into the process of the beginning of the process to release the trauma. As this, like I said, will be about an hour long, and you can't do everything in an hour; it's almost
Right.
impossible. And then after that will be an open Q&A session.
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what an amazing service to humanity.
Yeah, I now I'm just like dancing in my seat, because I'm like, I'm super excited. It's like, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait.
Well, I will let you be the inspirer because I've been talking about doing a live class too for a long time, and I just haven't. It's one of those things I was saying earlier about what is the resistance that I have to doing this? Is it there's
Yeah,
a part of me that has been resisting doing a live class, and so it's kind of lighting that fire underneath me to no longer have resistance to it because it's something that I know a lot of people are looking for.
yeah,
Really want to participate in these live classes because they're getting to experience the energy live. It's different to be a part of it live. Now, if they buy the class, it's recorded, right? So they can go back and watch it
yeah,
later, or if they miss it, they
yes,
can watch it.
yes, indeed.
Okay.
And just to give you a bit more of inspiration, Victoria, I was apprehensive about doing live streaming in the beginning myself, whether it be classes or just psychic readings or what have you, just being live in general. And so for doing lives, it really helped me to picture myself actually in the space, because I used to go and teach locally when I was in Brooklyn. So I would go teach, at the Casey or other little small venues in New York, and I would just find myself in a similar space, but virtually. And so some people may miss that interaction that you have with people actually being in the same space and sharing that energy. But being one who is tuned to these energies and frequencies, you then allow yourself to expand out into the ethers and connect to those in the virtual space. It's almost okay. It's almost like connecting to your spirit guides, but you're connecting to people.
Right. Well, it's the same kind of thing. You're having
Yeah,
but yeah, because you can't necessarily see them, so you're almost having a telepathic communication with
yeah,
everybody who's on the call, because
yeah,
it's not like you and I now we're having this banter back and forth and we're having a conversation.
yeah,
You're teaching in the virtual world and you have no idea who's watching and who's participating, and only a small number of people step into the position of asking questions. It's
yeah,
usually, have you noticed that you could have 100 people on the line and only maybe 10 people will ask questions,
yeah,
and or two or three, and it's always the same people asking questions, where everybody else, it might be wondering that question, but only a couple of people step up and actually ask it.
yeah,
So
exactly,
you're
exactly.
essentially having, like, yeah, as I said, it's like tuning into your guides, but it's like having this telepathic communication with
Mhm.
everybody else that's watching, even because you know they're there, you just can't see them and you can't communicate with them.
Yeah,
So there's still this energetic connection that happens with people.
yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly
It's
it.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, thank you for being willing to step up there and be one of the first people to test the system to make sure that it works on everybody else. I appreciate that.
I mean, I've always been, I don't want to say at the forefront of technology, but technology's been around me my whole life. I remember when my mom, I think I was maybe 8 or 9, maybe not, no, 9 or 10 years old, when my mom first started telecommuting for her job. And she worked for an accounting firm at the time. So she would bring home her laptop. And mind you, her laptop was the size of a printer, of what we
Right.
have as a printer. And so it was like this giant box of a computer and this little fold out, well, that was the keyboard. And the keyboard was maybe as as thin as a laptop and
Mhm.
just about as long. But that was it. Everything else that was the size of a desk drawer or like a clothing drawer was the
Right.
laptop. It was like
So
easily 10
was it one
pounds.
of the ones that had the screen was about this big?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was easily about 10 pounds because my mom would say, go outside and go get the computer out my car. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah, and those were portable computers, which is actually what is referred to as a PC today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Portable computer.
Pretty much. Yeah,
But that was before these beautiful flat screen monitors didn't exist.
yeah,
And they were about the same size as your PC,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So you have
and I
your
would
PC
play.
system
Yeah,
that people have right now. I'm looking at mine to below my desk, my PC system, and then I have my monitor on my desk.
yeah,
That was the size of the first portable
well, yeah, yep.
computers.
I
Yeah.
remember because my mom let me when she wasn't working on it. She would let me play football on the, which was just X's and O's,
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
X's and O's on the. So I've been around, and even before that, I had like an entire. So I've been around technology my whole life. Is just now it's different,
Oh
and
yeah. Oh
so
my gosh, yeah. And my kids think it's funny when I tell them about the first video games, the Pong, Pong,
yeah,
Pong.
yeah.
Yeah. And how fast things just move so much faster now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. And I've been around the technology too. Oh, here's one thing a lot of people don't know about me, because I basically, my dad was one of the very first people to have a computer, a desktop computer. he actually had a company called AAA Computers, and he did bookkeeping for his clients on computers. It was the only business in town that had desktop computers. There's no competition. And that was when it would have been in the late 70s. And which is really interesting about my dad, because my dad thought everything was evil. He was one of those, television is evil, cards are evil. But for some reason, computers weren't evil. Although now he probably would put them in the evil category. But at the time, all they did was compute. So they weren't evil. And so I always thought it was fascinating that he was one of the very, very, very first people to have computers. And then he sold computers. That was,
Wow.
yeah, the late 70s. And so I've been around them my whole life, and I learned how to work on them. And one of the jobs that I had in the early 90s was working for this company where I would go around and I would work on, I had this like IT tool belt. I worked for the IT department, and I had a tool belt, and I was going into all these computers for this company I worked for and replacing their 3D floppy drives with CD drives.
Oh, that was a nightmare, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I had to go
I
to
remember
every
that
single
time.
computer and open it up and remove the old drives and put in the new ones, which I don't even know if computers now even have CD drives.
No, not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah, but
So
thank
I've been
you.
around technology like you pretty much most of my life. It's not a fear of the technology. It's just more of the literally just taking the step to do it.
Yeah.
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 It's more of that one more thing on my to-do list. That my very long to-do list.
Yeah.
But like you, I'm feeling guided to stretch that muscle a little bit more and start doing these live classes. I've really, really been feeling that for about the last month.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. Thank you so much, Victoria, for this time today. I really, really, really appreciate you, our friendship, our cooperative relationship, and everything that it encompasses. I really do.
Me too. I've met the most amazing people in the last year. It's like the soul family is coming together. It's been so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we didn't talk about was your link to the event. I will, all of you who are watching, by the time I post this on my YouTube channel, I will have the link in the comments below.
Yes. And yeah, just go to the Ascended Master store directly or click on the link in the description.
And then
Or you can go
because it's going to have an affiliate link.
Yep. Yeah, click on the link in the description. Yeah. Do that.
Do that. Click on my affiliate link, please.
Support Victoria.
We support each other.
You support Victoria, you support me. And you support
right.
me, you support Victoria. That's how this works.
And together we support all of you. That's how it works.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Joy. Oh, joy.
It has been fun as always having this conversation with you. Yeah, just always so good. And we never know where the conversations are going to go. As we said at the beginning, we just set the intention that what comes through us is what's best for all concerned. And we just let spirit guide the conversation.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, it's been super, super fun having you here as always. And, next time I'll be on your show.
Yeah, exactly. And who knows? We probably just have a gigantic show with all of us at one time.
Yes, we've been talking about doing that. That would be so fun.
Yes. Oh, do you mind if I share something real quick?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have to thank you because you inspired the title of my new show that I'm going to be coming out with hopefully within the next month. There's no particular date. But the original name, it was going to be called The Sacred Masculine, but there are shows with that name already.
Okay.
So it is me and 4 other brothers who are doing a show called The Sacred Brotherhood.
I love that.
And so we have come together, and there's going to be 5 of us, conversation style show, talking about the divine masculine and sharing our personal experiences. And so I'm super excited.
Oh, I love that.
to bring this
Yeah.
together. Yeah. There's no time frame around it or anything yet, but know that this is going to be coming within uh probably mid-March to early April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need more of that heart-centered masculine, right? And not the um I don't even like the words that are thrown around out there. The
Don't throw
emasculate.
them.
I mean, that's absurd. The heart-centered masculine is not in any way emasculated.
No. No.
In fact, here's one of the things that Spirit showed me a couple of years ago. Courage comes from the heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
we have all, and I'm sure everyone is going to love this show. We have all had very interesting life experiences.
mhm.
We all come from different walks of life, and that is the center of this, is the differences, the uniqueness of our lives,
Mm,
to bring this harmony together, to bring uh, information, to bring love into who we are as a planet. So yeah, I'm super excited.
I love that. I'm so glad you're taking that idea and running with it and making it available for humanity. And
Yeah,
and I think this is part of the conversation we had, which is about healing the wounded masculine.
yeah,
We really need to heal the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine.
yeah,
It isn't either or. We can't and the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine, that's in every single one of us.
yeah,
But as long as we're at war with any aspect of ourselves, we won't be able to move into this reality that we all seek to move into. So we have to
yeah,
heal all the aspects of all of us.
yeah. And I'm just grateful and appreciative of, one thing that my shaman mentioned to me, when I was doing plant medicine, when I was gone the whole month of September, and many people have seen more of it in me since, is that I'm two-spirited. And what does that
Mm,
mean? That means that I hold both divine and feminine masculine energies, and they are both coming into balance within me. So as I
yes,
allow myself to come in balance with these energies, I'm able to express them equally and in the forms they need to be expressed in and when they need to be expressed. And it's not one over the other, it's both.
absolutely.
So to carry both of these energies is just fluid. And to allow myself to express in this two-spirited way, it's beautiful.
I love that. I love that. And as I actually think I might have even said this to my daughter. I'm slowly trying to feed her ideas because she's a resistant teenager at the moment.
Mhm.
We were talking about the masculine and feminine. And what I was saying is that when people are only in their feminine, which is this state of inspiration and creativity and being in this space of spirit, right? Nothing gets done. They're
Yeah,
just being.
yeah.
And the masculine is all about strategizing and planning and taking, being in action and forward motion, doing.
Mhm. Yeah,
But so if you're only in your masculine, you're busy doing, and not sitting and being in that calm
yeah,
space we need to be in. And if we're only in the feminine, it's a really beautiful and peaceful place to be, but nothing ever gets done. so, so it's
yeah,
really, as you were saying, it's about balancing both our masculine and our feminine, and then being conscious about when we use them and how to balance them in our everyday experience
yeah,
in a way
exactly.
that's whole and healed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Mhm.
Isn't that yummy?
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
So, and that's a whole nother conversation. We could just keep going with that, but we're running low on time. So let's
yes,
not.
exactly. Yes.
But
Oh,
and again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your beautiful light with me and with all of my audience, if you will. They're not mine. I don't own them, but for all of you who are watching, and for all of you who are watching now and in the future, thank you for being the light that you are. As I always say, remember to hold your light so high others can't help but see their own light. Together, we are creating a world of peace, harmony, prosperity, freedom, love for all life on earth. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.
Mm.